The question I get the most when I tell people in the seminary is probably, why did you want to do it, or when did you start thinking about it? Or if it's someone who's not so religious, they'll ask, well, does that mean you can't have kids? How can you do that? So, I try to. It's a good opportunity to tell people about the priesthood and to give them a window into my life and spirituality. Well, when people bring up the idea of living a life without a wife or not having a family of your own, I try to explain to them that the priesthood is really it's about making a gift of yourself to the church. Really the priest is not a bachelor, is not just a single man doing his thing, but the priest is the spouse of the church. He gives himself fully to the church, just as a husband gives himself fully to his wife. So too does the priest make a full gift of himself to the church. And really, celibacy enables the priest to give more of himself to the church. He actually loves more. I prepare myself for the priesthood, for ministry, and for life as a celibate and as a religious man by really focusing my life around a life of study and a life of prayer. At the seminary, we take a lot of time to study different topics in theology and to study different areas of ministry and to develop our own relationship with Christ and with the church. So it's really just like the priest is able to make a gift of himself. That begins before ordination even. That begins as a seminarian. You're able to throw yourself entirely into devotion to the Lord, to your relationship with Him, and to your studies and your formation to become a priest. I started thinking about the priesthood probably in about the middle of my high school years. At first, it wasn't on my radar screen. I was always a good kid in school and everything, but and eventually I was going to youth group, and some of my friends suggested the idea, oh, have you thought about the priesthood? And there's always the wonderful old ladies in church who nudge you every once in a while and say, have you ever thought about the priesthood? And to those initial questions, I gave an immediate no, and that's not for me. That's not what I want. But after I developed my relationship with the Lord and realized that He wants a personal relationship with me, I began to open myself up to what He wanted. He was asking me of my life. So I got involved in youth group more and more, and went to youth conferences in Steubenville, did the Steubenville Youth Conference scene and everything, and was really touched by that, and was drawn into a very profound conversion by that. And so about my sophomore year of high school, I finally was able to put aside my initial no, Lord, no thanks, and say, okay, what do you want? So after I did that, the idea of priesthood stuck in my head, and it wouldn't leave me alone. So I continued to pray about it and to bring it into my life, and talk to my family members about it. And more people I talked to, they said, oh yeah, I feel like that's a good fit for you. So those things all helped me to discern. And through my 4 college years, still discerning, I had a lot of support with my friends, encouraging me to seek the Lord's will and to do what He wanted me to do. And finally, after I finished college, I applied to the seminary and entered, and it's been a very blessed, confirming experience ever since then. What I'm most looking forward to in the priesthood is really the fact that it's the priest who's able to open the treasury of heaven for the people. Is the idea that God has made Himself accessible to us as people, and He chooses the priest and ordains the priest to have a special role in that self-gift of God to His people. So for the idea of me being used by God to give people the Eucharist, to give people confirmation and the sacrament of baptism, and to anoint them when they're sick, to be that hand of God in people's lives in such a powerful way as the sacraments are, is something that really moves me and makes me want to dive into the priesthood.